Warfare is one of the most destructive forces in human history, leading to the loss of countless lives and irreparable damage to communities and societies. Some conflicts, however, have been particularly bloody and devastating, leaving a lasting impact on the world. In this video, we will be exploring 10 of the bloodiest and most brutal wars in human history. World War II. World War II was the deadliest conflict in human history, claiming an estimated 70 to 85 million lives. The war was fought between 1939 and 1945, and involved nearly every nation in the world. The primary combatants were the Allied powers, led by the United States, the United Kingdom, and the Soviet Union, and the Axis powers, led by Germany, Japan, and Italy. The war was marked by a series of brutal battles and atrocities, including the Holocaust, the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and the rape of Nanking. Mongol conquests, from the 13th to the 14th century. The Mongol Empire embarked on a series of conquests that would ultimately result in the deaths of approximately 40 million people. The Mongols were renowned for their brutal tactics, which included the use of siege warfare, the mass slaughter of civilians, and the enslavement of entire populations. The Mongol Empire was the largest contiguous empire in history, stretching from Eastern Europe to Asia. 30 Years' War. The 30 Years' War was fought in Europe between 1618 and 1648 and resulted in an estimated 8 million deaths. The war was fought primarily between Protestants and Catholics, and involved many of the major powers of Europe at the time. The conflict was marked by a series of devastating battles, sieges, and atrocities, including the sack of Magdeburg and the Battle of White Mountain. Napoleonic Wars. The Napoleonic Wars were a series of conflicts fought in Europe from 1803 to 1815. The wars were primarily fought between France and a coalition of European powers, and resulted in an estimated 3.5 million deaths. The wars were marked by a series of brutal battles and sieges, including the Battle of Waterloo and the Siege of Moscow. World War I. World War I was fought from 1914 to 1918 and claimed the lives of an estimated 16 million people. The war was fought primarily between the Allied powers, led by the United Kingdom, France, and Russia, and the Central Powers, led by Germany and Austria-Hungary. The war was marked by a series of brutal battles, including the Battle of the Somme and the Battle of Verdun, as well as the use of new and devastating weapons, such as poison gas. Taiping Rebellion. The Taiping Rebellion was a civil war fought in China from 1850 to 1864, and resulted in an estimated 20 million deaths. The rebellion was led by a man named Hong Xiuquan, who claimed to be the younger brother of Jesus Christ and sought to establish a utopian society based on Christian and Confucian principles. The rebellion was marked by a series of brutal battles and massacres, including the fall of Nanjing and the siege of Changsha. Enlushan Rebellion. The Enlushan Rebellion was a civil war fought in China from 755 to 763, and resulted in an estimated 36 million deaths. The rebellion was led by a general named Enlushan, who sought to overthrow the Tang dynasty and establish his own regime. The rebellion was marked by a series of brutal battles and atrocities, including the siege of Suiyang and the massacre of Yangzhou. Conquests of Tamerlane. Tamerlane, also known as Timur, was a 14th-century Turkic Mongol conqueror who embarked on a series of conquests that would ultimately result in the deaths of an estimated 17 million people. Tamerlane's campaigns were marked by brutal tactics, including the mass slaughter of civilians and the use of enslaved labor. Tamerlane's empire was centered in Central Asia and extended from modern-day Turkey to India. Korean War. The Korean War was fought from 1950 to 1953 between North Korea, supported by China and the Soviet Union, and South Korea, supported by the United States and other UN forces. The war resulted in an estimated 2.5 million deaths, including civilians and military personnel from both sides. The war was marked by a series of brutal battles, including the Battle of Chosin Reservoir and the Siege of Wonsan. Vietnam War. The Vietnam War was a conflict that lasted from 1955 to 1975 and resulted in an estimated 3 million deaths. The war was fought between the Communist forces of North Vietnam and the government of South Vietnam, which was supported by the United States and other Western powers. The war was marked by a series of brutal battles, including the Tet Offensive and the Siege of Khe Sanh, as well as widespread use of chemical weapons such as Agent Orange. These 10 wars represent some of the most brutal and devastating conflicts in human history. The human cost of warfare is staggering, and these conflicts serve as a reminder of the destructive power of human aggression. As we move forward, it is important to remember the lessons of these wars and work towards a more peaceful future.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications to stay up to date with all of our latest content. We appreciate your support and can't wait to see you in the next video.